You believe in God, you believe like magic, like a God that who says to something be and it is. So I tell them that you want to drink and it is. You want to look and it is. You want to touch and it is. Where is that coming from? It's magic. It's Allah. It's marvelous. So magic is everywhere at every moment. But we take it for granted. We almost fall asleep for the marvelous of the creation in us before our eyes. We experience it at every moment. Be and it is. And if you study science, it even becomes more marvelous, because this almost doesn't exist. When they study the atom with quantum physics, the atom is made of tiny, minute particles. And the tiniest particle, it just pops into existence. They discover that the electron pop into a particle, but it's actually a wave. A wave of what? Nobody knows. Call it energy or whatever they want to name it, but nobody knows what it is that. That you can't know what is consciousness is. They found out that the electron behave differently when there is one slot on the sheet than when there is two slots. That's why they discovered it's actually a wave, not a particle. It becomes a particle only like bob back. So it perplexes the scientists. Where is that coming from? So they call it, it's coming from, now they recognize there could be multiple dimensions or parallel universes. They try to put a theory, and they try to say it is coming from the quantum field. This is the spiritual field that Allah talked about. Well, the whole universe started like that. Now just these atoms combine and become a marvelous thing in its own. Everything is made of the same thing, atoms. You, like the mountain, like the tree, like the sun, like anything. But everything combines in a certain way. It becomes conscious of that combination. That's the body, and it becomes a little dense. And so it thinks it's separate and individual. And there is beauty in that, because you can't know the infinite unless it is something finite that becomes tangible. And this whole physicality is about that. If I have, imagine this is light, or even if it's a whiteboard. Imagine if I have a white pen and I draw a tree, mountain, lion, human being. Can you see anything? You will not be able to perceive unless I bring boundaries, right? Unless I bring boundaries, that makes you know that, I draw a flower, for example, or something, right? The whole universe is like that. Allah had to define, to condense it, to make it definable, so you can know. Otherwise, you will not have a way to comprehend the infinite unless it becomes a finite thing. Now bring that to what action means for us, because we need to talk about the actions. We need to energize one another and remind one another it is about the actions at the end. What we're supposed to do in this world, in this time. What is required of us? That is the question. So, unless mercy manifests in a finite way, people would think there is no mercy, you know. It's a theoretical concept, but it has to be tangible. So you become that representative of love, of mercy, of justice. And when it becomes finite, and then you have the taste of it, you yourself would know how beautiful it is, how majestic it is. Then you will serve for others to know that too. So you become the servant of Allah, the representative of Allah. So everything has to come to this physical action eventually, to come to a finite thing. So it becomes tangible, and then you can experience it to its intense way. This is what life about. That's why you experience pain and all of that, and we will go through that. But because the intensity is what needed for you to know, to taste. It is the intensity of creating something, again, as an artist would create, that will make you know what patience is and the beauty of it. The scientist in the lab will learn about patience, about knowledge, and about many things. If you are living with that perception, then even a simple act like cleaning, again, becomes a tool to remember Allah, to remember the divine, to represent the divine, to see the marvelous of the divine. He tells you, take this dish and wash it, and it is, you know. Like, if you live with that perception, of that awareness, that it is the divine that makes you able to say be, and it is. That's why they also, the more you know Allah and there's close, drawn to proximity to Allah, they say, there is this Sufi saying, or I think it's a hadith, that my servant will continue to draw close to me until he say to the thing be, and it is. We are having that already, but we are asleep, we're not conscious of it. Imagine if we were conscious of it then. And that's what we need to carry, that awareness with us from that workshop. I don't want people we're supposed to go until...
Yeah, thank you. So I think we're about due for a 10-minute break.
Yes.
And then...
You believe in God? You believe like magic? Like a God that who says to something be, and it is? So I tell them that you want to drink, and it is. You want to look, and it is. You want to touch, and it is. Where is that coming from? It's magic. It's Allah. It's marvelous. So magic is everywhere at every moment. But we take it for granted. We almost fall asleep for the marvelous of the creation in us before our eyes. We experience it at every moment, be and it is. And if you study science, it even becomes more marvelous, because this almost doesn't exist. When they study the atom with quantum physics, the atom, made of tiny, minute particles. And the tiniest particle, it just pops into existence. They discover that the electron pop into a particle, but it's actually a wave. A wave of what? Nobody knows. Call it energy or whatever they want to name it, but nobody knows what it is that. That's you can't know what is consciousness is. They found out that the electron behave differently when there is one slot on the sheet than when there is two slots. That's why they discovered it's actually a wave, not a particle. It becomes a particle only like bomb back. So it perplexes the scientists. Where is that coming from? So they call it, it's coming from, now they recognize there could be multiple dimensions or parallel universes. They try to put a theory, and they try to say it is coming from the quantum field. This is the spiritual field that Allah talked about. Well, the whole universe started like that. Now just these atoms combine and become a marvelous thing in its own. Everything is made of the same thing, atoms. You, like the mountain, like the tree, like the sun, like anything. But everything combines in a certain way. It becomes conscious of that combination. That's the body, and it becomes a little dense. And so it thinks it's separate and individual. And there is beauty in that, because you can't know the infinite unless it is something finite that becomes tangible. And this whole physicality is about that. If I have, imagine this is light, or even if it's a whiteboard. Imagine if I have a white pen and I draw a tree, mountain, lion, human being. Can you see anything? You will not be able to perceive unless I bring boundaries, right? Unless I bring boundaries, that makes you know that, I draw a flower, for example, or something, right? The whole universe is like that. Allah had to define, to condense it, to make it definable, so you can know. Otherwise, you will not have a way to comprehend the infinite, unless it becomes an finite thing. Now bring that to what action means for us, because we need to talk about the actions. We need to energize one another and remind one another it is about the actions at the end. What we're supposed to do in this world, in this time. What is required of us? That is the question. So, unless mercy manifests in a finite way, people would think there is no mercy, It's a theoretical concept, but it has to be tangible. So you become that representative of love, of mercy, of justice. And when it becomes finite, and then you have the taste of it, you yourself would know how beautiful it is, how majestic it is. Then you will serve for others to know that too. So you become the servant of Allah, the representative of Allah. So everything has to come to this physical action eventually, to come to a finite thing. So it becomes tangible, and so you can experience it to its intense way. This is what life about. That's why you experience pain and all of that, and we will go through that. But because the intensity is what needed for you to know, to taste. It is the intensity of creating something, again, as an artist would create, that will make you know what patience is and the beauty of it. The scientist in the lab will learn about patience, about knowledge, and about many things. If you are living with that perception, then even a simple act like cleaning, again, becomes a tool to remember Allah, to remember the divine, to represent the divine, to see the marvelous of the divine. He tells you, take this dish and wash it, and it is, Like, if you live with that perception, of that awareness, that it is the divine that makes you able to say be, and it is. That's why they also, the more you know Allah and there's close, drawn to proximity to Allah, they say there is this Sufi saying, or I think it's a hadith, that my servant will continue to draw close to me until he say to the thing be, and it is. We are having that already, but we are asleep, we're not conscious of it. Imagine if we were conscious of it then. And that's what we need to carry that awareness with us from that.
I think Jesus' word that kills all the beauty that I'm feeling good. I've been reading a lot of CD talking about killing the body, and that's a strong word.
Mm.
You know? And I think the person I'm reading with is really going, what's with this? You know, and I'm not going to answer. And I know it's related somehow to what you're saying. Because you're actually eliminating the body, so.
Killing the body because we're identifying. Again, it is good to have the boundaries and the intensity of it to know and to function, but eventually you have to stretch your perception, as we're talking, to break that boundary of the body. To break that boundary by feeling everything is part of you, and there is of course levels to that. That's why some Gnostic or some people with intense spiritual practice, they start to have what we call in Sufism karamat. People call it miracles or call it extraordinary gifts by being able to know maybe your thoughts, because there is no boundaries, or being able to something. But those are gifts. I don't believe that someone is living in but that will be only Allah. There is no budget that can live into that all the time. But there is degrees to it and there is gifts. That's why some prophets were giving special gifts to heal, or to Prophet Ibrahim was thrown in the fire, or like everyone was giving different, unique to them. So you can have this uniqueness and it's limitless and infinite, but it's all in Allah's hands. And it is not something you pursued for that cause, that I want to have powers, I want to have extraordinary powers. It's a gift that comes from Allah. If it comes, alhamdulillah. If it not comes, at least I live my life aware of that, like stretching my perception to feel that everything is part of me. We are one body, and also to feel that everything is a gift from Allah, a trace of Him that speaks to me and that shows to me the love of Allah and the beautiful qualities of Allah. So it's the object of contemplation and perception, so that can always make me aware of Allah's presence. That's one level. There is many other levels, depends on the Gnostics and so, but it should not be your goal, is to gain that, to kill the body. Some Sufis and some monks, Buddhists also, they can walk on fire or things like that, or walk on hot things, or you see those, the snakes and things like that. But this should not be the goal, and they should not actually, if you're given it, you're not supposed to manifest it that way to people, or to gain power over them, or you're actually supposed to have it for yourself and for a subtle way to serve. So you're always the servant and not to have power. So, you know, there is some level where there is no boundaries, so things can be known, things can be felt, things like that.
There's also a memory that I can't shake of me standing in front of CD, and I'm still trying to receive what he gave, where it wasn't like standing in front of anybody else. It was like his robe. He was there, but
yeah, he's not
so,
there.
Yeah.
We felt it sometimes. They will be looking and they don't know looking at what. So things like that. So this is when this perception expands. Allah make it expand for you, and there is no boundaries then. Everything is from Allah and everything is one and Allah can show and can give certain gifts for certain people. But the pursuit is not these gifts. The pursuit is to be conscious of Allah and to serve. That should be your goal. But you walk with this awareness. You work with this awareness. You interact with this awareness. Then you're just in love with everything and everyone because you see Allah through it. It's this transparent veil is lifted. It's just a transparent, it's not any more oblique veil. It is transparent. Through it, you only see the beloved Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so you are in love, you find yourself, you want to hug even objects and, kiss objects. That's why the Sufis will kiss the abaya, or they will kiss the sibha, the masbaha, the things like this. And because if you are in that awareness, so Allah is talking to you, Allah is with you, and it is beloved. Allah is beloved. He loves you, He's taking care of you. And so, if you feel like this part of your lung, as we talked, or part of your stomach, then I think it helps us when we fall sick, or a loved one falls sick. Because a loved one falls sick, oh, it's horrible, he's in supportive system, or what they call it. Supportive to you, life support. Where we are at life support. Who is not in life support? This is the tube that giving you the oxygen. We are all living in this state. It changes its form and we fall apart because we form the habits. And we want things to stay as they are because of fear, because of sorrow, because of ignorance, because of our attachment to the physicality of things. And fear. Fear is a big thing. We will talk about the emotion actually in next session, but we are in supportive system. We are living on support, on life support. You're not independently producing your oxygen from within. You are in a supportive system already. It's a vulnerable position. But Allah is sustaining it, and for how many years you've been doing that unconsciously? He's a loving God. When you didn't have nose to breathe inside the womb, He still sustained you. So what if you have no physical body? What if you lose this or that? He's still the sustainer. He does not cease to be the loving. He does not cease to be the sustainer. He does not cease to be the creator. He have already done it, but you fall in heedlessness. You fall in a habit. You feel you're independently digesting and eating and breathing, but you are in a supportive system, life support. So it can be vulnerable, but also can be an eye-opening and can be a trust, can make you trust Allah, because forms will change, but Allah does not change. His qualities does not change. So He's with you wherever you are. Whether this life support or that life support, So it helps us to form that trust. And it humbles us. Because we not anymore that separate body that is fully independent, fully claim power, fully claim abilities, fully claim talent, or to be better than that, or better than this. It actually makes us melt. That's the killing of the body. You melt. Any other last question? If not, you welcome. You can take the rest.